What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we are checking out Dr. Clef from the Exploring series. So yeah, this was a very high requested video. A lot of people want me to check out Dr. Clef, especially after I watched the Dr. Bright video. A lot of you guys wanted me to check out some of the other SCP doctors and researchers, and yeah, Dr. Clef, like I said, most requested. I'm pretty sure in the 50 things Dr. Bright is not allowed to do, he was not allowed to be unsupervised with Dr. Clef. So yeah, this should be very interesting. I'm not too sure anything about this guy, so yeah, definitely going to be all new to us pretty much. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We upload every day. I also stream over on Twitch a few days a week, so if you're interested, just coming and chilling with me. We play some random games and I just chill with the chat. So yeah, if you want to come and chill, be sure to follow me on Twitch. And you can join our Discord. Feel free to suggest me any videos in the comments, but if you want me to see your suggestion, 100% guaranteed, join the Discord. So yeah, we're going to get into this video, man. Without further ado, let's go. Don't know if the lighting looks a bit odd, but you know, we'll continue.
Dr. Clef. We've already taken a look at one of the more well-known doctors working for the SCP Foundation, Dr. Bright. But an organization as large and as strange as the Foundation is bound to have more than one unusual individual working for it. Dr. Clef is in many ways even more unusual than Dr. Bright.
Not possible.
But overall doesn't have quite the same infamous reputation.
How is it possible to be more odd than Dr. Bright? There's no way. I don't believe it.
Various stories and tales about Dr. Clef go back a good number of years, and it can be difficult to paint a cohesive picture of the character. I'll attempt to provide a small summary of some of Dr. Clef's more notable interactions and potential bits of his history, but keep in mind there are a great number of stories being left out of this summary. To begin with, Dr. Clef's backstory is among the most mysterious things in the SCP universe, which is saying quite a bit, mostly due to the fact that
Yeah, that is saying quite a bit, because everything is mysterious in the SCP universe. There is literally an origin story for nothing. It's all you make up the origin story in your head, literally. So to be one of the more mysterious things, that is something right there.
Clef has a reputation for being a notorious liar.
Oof.
The most common element of his backstory, though, is that prior to becoming a doctor working for the SCP Foundation, he actually worked for the Global Occult Coalition as a field agent. According to his GOC personnel file, he was recruited to the GOC in 1981 as Agent Ukelele, and had his first confirmed kill a year later, taking down something called the Hillsborough Beast, despite severe losses to his team, earning him the Silver Aegis Commendation. In 1986, though, he was tasked with containing something referred to as xenobiological hemorrhagic prion, some sort of alien disease.
That just sounds like a bunch of scientific words mashed into one term. You know, like when people try and sound smart, but they use big words, but they don't know what it means. What did it say? Hemorrhagic prion, some shit. Xeno obviously is like alien, right? And then you have hemorrhaging, which is when like you have like a cut or something and the blood is hemorrhaging, right? And what was the last word? Right, prion, which is obviously a protein that goes into your brain and fucks you up. So yeah,
sort of alien disease, which he failed to do, resulting in an unknown amount of deaths.
Oof.
Afterwards, he went on a sabbatical from work until 1989, when he was promoted to a special operative. In the 90s, he had a confirmed kill on something called the Goddess, but was unable to confirm a kill on a related entity called the Daughter. We'll get back to that in a minute. In the 2000s, he confirmed his 99th kill of a threat entity and asked to retire from active duty, which was granted. An unknown amount of time passed, during which apparently he disappeared from the GOC, but he eventually resurfaced, now working for the SCP Foundation as Dr. Clef.
So he has 99 confirmed kills. Are these confirmed kills all SCPs? Or could they just be usual, like, regular people, you know?
His personnel file also mentions his aptitude with various firearms, demolitions, and vehicle handling. His alterations and talents include a standard optics array and standard longevity treatments, as well as a resistance to standard photography technique. Clef's face apparently can't be photographed in any way, appearing on camera as some sort of animal head instead.
Jesus.
The reason for this, among many other things, is a mystery.
Of course.
Ultimately, what this personnel file tells us, though, is that Dr. Clef was a highly talented and decorated field agent working for the GOC before suddenly retiring and joining the SCP Foundation instead. Let's go back to that confirmed goddess kill from the 90s, referred to as the Cornwall incident. Clef was dispatched as the lead of a strike team to Cornwall, England, to take down a nature goddess and her followers. The goddess was intent on completing some sort of magical ritual that would revert humanity back to a pre-industrial state. The strike team completed the mission successfully, with Clef himself pulling the trigger on the goddess. But the mission log notes that there was no confirmation on the death of the daughter of the goddess. What actually happened was that Clef had the chance to kill the daughter, but chose not to, instead taking her to a local convent.
Is this goddess character in any way related to the Song of Genesis? I mean, it kind of sounds like they do the same thing. I mean, he has a conscience, I guess, not to kill the daughter. I mean, you see that in a shit ton of movies. I mean, I don't know if anyone's in the army that's going to watch this, but if you have a mission that's assigned to kill the mother and the daughter, I don't know how many people are not going to pull the trigger, and if they don't, I'm sure someone else might just do it. But, yeah, I guess he had to leave the GOC. The GOC kind of have a reputation for being a little bit heartless, I guess. So, yeah, you do that, no wonder he wanted to retire, you know?
Ties to the GOC. The intent was for her to grow up unaware of her nature and hopefully live a normal life.
Big mistake.
But years later, she inadvertently caused the death of a bystander.
Of course.
The GOC swooped in and marked her for termination, as is their nature. But Clef intervened. Although retired from active duty, he still had connections and managed to take the girl away, bringing her to the one organization with the capability to protect her, the SCP Foundation. Unaware to most, however, is that Clef met that nature goddess a number of years ago, when he was much younger. He had been lost in the woods, and met a girl with antlers in her hair and hooves for feet.
Oh, please don't tell me what I think is gonna... Please, don't tell me this is his daughter now. Please, don't go there. Why has he got a Sharon gun in his fucking... Oh, he's got an eye on his forehead.
The daughter, as you've guessed, is his.
You know, no words, bro. No words. No wonder. I mean, he killed the mother of his child, which is not very nice. But then again, she did sound a little crazy, and I guess he done it for good reason. I guess, I don't know, man. I guess we'll find out. Jesus.
He hoped to give her a normal life and keep her existence somewhat a secret in the convent,
mistake.
But it wasn't to be. He then brought her to the Foundation, and shortly after, left the GOC and joined the Foundation to be closer to her. Within the SCP Foundation, the daughter is listed as SCP-166, the teenage succubus. 166's primary anomalous property activates when viewed by any human male, which causes 100% of them to attempt immediate sexual contact. This can often lead to an obsession after being removed from 166's presence, which generally requires death to cease.
That is fucked up. That's fucked up. This has been requested, and we will get to this SCP, but that is fucked up.
The nuns at the convent in Cornwall say that the girl was brought to them by a person of indistinguishable features.
Of course.
Who claimed that she was the offspring of an elder creature of great power. The convent life led 166 to become highly religious. She has requested religious books, rosaries, access to a Catholic priest, and so on. Her anomalous property brings her even more grief with her religious principles in mind. There are also some clues to her connection to a nature goddess in her description, which states that wearing any clothing quickly leads to sores breaking out, a vulnerability to any airborne particulate matter such as cigarette smoke, and she requires no typical sustenance. The accident that led to her leaving the convent occurred when a young man sneaked into the convent to visit another novice and accidentally saw 166.
Oh.
He became violently obsessed, eventually killing a nun and injuring 3 others before being killed. This is where there's a slight discrepancy. The author in a separate post says that the GOC intended to kill 166 at this point, and Clef saved her by bringing her to the Foundation. The 166...
To be fair, taking her to a nun's convent or whatever makes perfect sense. I mean, I don't know if he knew the power that she had before, And I don't know if the power would work on him, considering he's the dad. That would be even more fucked up. I hope that's not the case. But maybe he's immune because he's the dad, I guess. I don't know. But, so, this boy sees her and he goes crazy. To be fair, it's the best plot because it's women only in the nuns' convent. And obviously no men allowed. Being totally religious is going to probably stop her from wanting to wander around and be, do anything crazy. Although, the typical notion is people that are sheltered and typically very religious and not allowed to do things tend to go very crazy and do everything they shouldn't be doing once they get that freedom, so.
This article, however, claims that a Foundation operative heard of the incident, realized 166's property, and brought in a female agent who negotiated her transfer. It's impossible to say what the truth is, but in my opinion, the former seems far more likely due to Clef's connection with the girl. The 166 article ends with a letter that was found in the girl's containment suite. The writer of the letter says that he first met 166's mother when she was a girl, and she had hooves for feet and starlight in her eyes. She wanted to take humanity back to Eden, a state of being instead of a place. He doesn't regret killing her, but he does regret that the first time he met 166 was when he was putting a bullet into her mother's head. He hopes that she forgives him. He's sorry that she couldn't stay with the kind and loving people of the convent, but he promises to make her stay here pleasant and to keep her safe. He wishes her a happy 16th birthday. This letter then links us to another article titled A Suicide Note, also written by Dr. Clef, which brings us to another major topic of discussion about Clef. The note begins with Clef stating his intention to kill himself, although he's unsure if he can even die. He ponders if he is actually Satan, and wonders if his punishment for defying God is never being able to interact with anomalies. We learn that rather than being a reality bender, Clef is a reality anchor, or claims to be. He can't see ghosts, or things that qualify as deities, demons, or anything else from outside of our universe, and they can't see him either.
Ooh.
He can't be affected by reality benders, although he can touch them. He can't operate any anomalous machinery, and he can't walk into any alternate universe, despite attempts being made at all of these things. He says he's only been able to interact with 3 anomalies in his life, all of them female. The first was the love of his life, and he was told to kill her by the GOC.
Jesus.
He refused and ran from the GOC and pledged his services to the Foundation if they provided amnesty for her. He's not referring to 166 here, so this somewhat contradicts what we've previously heard. He interjects to talk about the first reality bender he killed, a 12-year-old girl that brought her doll to life because she was lonely and needed a friend. He had to run her over with a car.
Oh, fuck's sake, Dr. Clef. Nah, you can't be doing that. My man run her down. Jesus Christ, this is GTA, bro. Oh my god.
The second anomaly he interacted with was his daughter, 166, known to him as Epon. He's, of course, immune to her effect.
Oh, there you go.
That he knew she was his daughter the instant he saw her, as she has her mother's eyes. She's being held against her will for the simple reason that she was born, and she doesn't deserve it. The third anomaly he's interacted with is SCP-239, who he refers to as Siguro. Let's pivot then before we come back to that suicide note, and discuss SCP-239, as the interaction between her and Clef is rather notable. SCP-239 is a young girl.
So he is a reality anchor, which means he can't see anything outside the reality, nothing outside the reality can see him, blah, blah, blah. But anomalies can't interact with him. Like, they don't see him. Like, if he was in a room with Abel, Abel wouldn't kill him or not even know he's there. Is that what that means?
With shimmering eyes, who is capable of doing anything she expresses a will to do. If that sounds rather powerful, that's because it is. She is, for all intents and purposes, a reality bender of the highest magnitude. Although,
you know, I know a lot of people that say, instead of for all intents and purposes, they say for all intensive purposes, you know? It's kind of funny, no?
So far, she only affects things that she can see. In
she
fact,
can't see
her
it.
power seems to only be limited by her youth and innocence.
Spin requested.
The Foundation told 239 that she was a witch,
Oof.
only capable of using her abilities by
Burn the
casting
witch.
from a pre-approved list of spells created by the Foundation.
Burn the witch.
239's self-preservation instincts still make her incredibly dangerous, however. And indeed, she first came to the Foundation's attention 3 hours after she was born,
Oof.
when the hospital was destroyed by an unexplained explosion.
That's something right there.
She was found as the only
Only alive for 3 hours and you're already on the Foundation's radar. That's a big oof. It's a big yikes. That's what that is.
survivor amidst the rubble.
Of course.
Despite the witch plan preventing escape attempts and
What else? There's quite a few things where that's been the case, where there's a big destruction and there's one survivor among the rubble. I'm trying to think what movie it is that I can remember that from.
Tailing her from developing her abilities on her own, Clef still submits a proposal for 239's termination. He proposes that since 239's skin is typically impenetrable due to her abilities, a piercing element be constructed with SCP-148. 148 is an anomalous metallic substance normally capable of hindering mind-affecting properties of nearby organisms, but also has been shown to be capable of penetrating 239's skin. Clef mentions that one of the dangers of this procedure is that 239 will wake up and perceive the operative as a friend, changing reality to match. Since he himself is immune to her effects, he volunteers for the operation. This leads us to the log for Incident 239-B, detailing Clef's attempt.
So, did he do this because he's trying to die?
This is a rather lengthy log,
Here we go.
so I'll be keeping just the important bit. We learn that Clef had sent his termination proposal over unsecured channels, and it had reached several staff members at the site where 239 is held. These staff members, possibly subtly altered by 239 to be her friends, took action to prevent Clef from carrying out his proposal.
Oof.
This forces Clef to act as quickly as possible before someone alerts 239 of his plan, which could have devastating and unforeseen consequences. Clef is upset at the other members of the Foundation for not neutralizing the girl sooner, blaming their leniency on the fact that she's a young girl. Clef arrives at the site, neutralizing security with tranquilizers, and makes his way towards 239. Fortunately, by his account, 239 seems to already be warping the local reality of the site. Clef's main opposition at the site is a fellow doctor, Dr. Kondraki, who will probably get his own video at some point. Clef deals with a number of other SCPs in the process, and other doctors, Dr. Gears, Dr. Bright, and Dr. Crow, get involved as well. Gears fetches 239, and tells her that Dr. Clef has been overtaken by a mass of formless evil known as the Great Darkness. He tells her that he is an over-council wizard, and Kondraki is a swordsman, and the three of them must subdue Clef and drive the evil from him. He also grabs a Chinese dictionary, claiming that it's an emergency spellbook, which can only be used by two wizards at the same time, and only when the Great Darkness is around. He tells her this story in order to maintain containment on her abilities, and she of course believes it. 239 proceeds to encounter Clef and casts Magic Missile, under instruction by Gears, which causes great pain to Clef. It also inadvertently causes a mass of black light to issue forth from Clef's body, taking the shape of a massive dragon. This would seem to be an unintended side effect of 239's imagination. The dragon causes a large amount of damage to the site before being killed by Dr. Crow, using another SCP in the form of a Sword of Light. 239, meanwhile, is sedated by Dr. Gears, and afterwards she is placed into a medically induced coma indefinitely. A post-incident interview between Kondraki and Clef has Clef implying that he is Satan, and that 239 is an incarnation of God, before breaking out into laughter. It's unclear, of course, exactly what Clef is telling the truth about, as he seems to lie about most things.
Oof.
The entire incident is, of course, rather ridiculous, as was often the case at that time of SCP writing. Which brings us back to the suicide note, where Clef discusses the incident. He says that 239 terrified him because he could feel her in his mind, and if she could get into his head, she could do anything. He admits that he didn't need some fancy piercing implement to kill her, as even a sharp stick would work in his hand. He thinks the entire incident occurred as it did because 239 was just toying with them. It had made everyone act like idiots just for a laugh, and it had been doing it for years. He then says that she's dead now, after he injected her with a cocktail of both mundane and anomalous substances, causing her to literally melt. He claims that people have started to act normally again, released from her influence. But he knows that the Foundation is going to find out sooner or later that he murdered her. That's why he's going to commit suicide first. And he ends the note by saying that, assuming he can go to hell, he'll see everyone there someday. This note was found...
There's a big fuck you at the end right there. Yeah, I'm going to hell and I'll see you all there. Okay, buddy.
Clef's office, following the sounds of gunshots. Despite Clef's blood and some brain matter being found in the office, his body has not been recovered, and his status is unknown.
Oof.
The nature of canon in the SCP universe is already incredibly loose, and when you combine that with Clef's infamous reputation for lying about practically every aspect of himself, it's quite difficult to discern any sort of truth. Is Clef actually Satan?
Probably
I'll
not.
leave it up to you, but according to the author, the answer is maybe. He says that Clef doesn't have red horns or
That's literally every answer. Maybe. Maybe.
reign over hell, but he does rebel against God, and he did cast humanity out of Eden. This brings up the possibility of Clef being Adam rather than Satan, but it seems we won't get any clear answer. Clef's immunity or nullification of most anomalies is often mentioned when discussing the character.
That's an interesting theory, that he's Adam and that nature woman he killed was Eve. But I'm pretty sure Adam and Eve's two kids were Cain and Abel in that sense, and Cain and Abel were also part of it. But he said he had a daughter. So, yeah, it's a sticky one. I'm not too sure that one fits.
There are a number of examples. One of the most notable, perhaps, is when Clef was locked in the same containment cell as SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile. Clef and 682 continually stared at each other
Jesus.
as Clef placed some explosives on the containment door, causing a containment breach.
Why?
Despite the opportunity to escape, 682 continued to stare at Clef until he had engaged the secondary emergency doors, recontaining 682. The reason for this odd interaction between the two is left unexplained, but it's extremely outside of 682's typical nature.
Very true.
Clef had also given a seminar to Foundation agents about dealing with reality benders. Ultimately, he tells the agents to forget about containing or reasoning with them, and to just kill them before they even know you're there.
Message to just put your buckshot straight inside them, son. Just off them. It's not worth it.
Of course, has an unfair advantage compared to the rest of the agents, however.
Very fucking true.
Dr. Clef is certainly an interesting character, although there are tales which paint him as more...
So this picture now makes sense, because no one sees... If you take a picture, you see his face as an animal, right? Plus, if he is the devil, the snake is the representation in the Bible of the devil. And he was called Agent Ukulele or some shit, so he's got the ukulele.
More over the top and less serious than other tales, much like Dr. Bright.
Dr. Bright.
Ultimately, it's up to reader interpretation, much like most things in the SCP universe. Self-insert characters walk a fine line between being interesting and being gratuitous. As this is only a short summary of a large number of tales related to the character, it's probably not fair to judge simply based on this video. But either way, Dr. Clef has cemented his place in SCP history.
That's very true. You guys can read the quote Enio if you really want to. Okay, so that is the end of Dr. Clef. Definitely very different to Dr. Bright in terms of the other Doctor we've checked out. The only thing I can compare him to is Dr. Bright. Both kind of crazy in their own way. I mean, Dr. Clef has a weird backstory along with Dr. Bright. Both have pretty odd backstories. Dr. Clef, no one really knows what he is, which is kind of annoying like usual. Some people say he's Adam, some people say he's the devil, some people just say he's a weirdo. I would go probably that he's a weirdo. You know what I mean? The guy killed the mother of nature, then mother, whatever. I don't know if that one is an SCP herself or not, whatever. He had a child with her, and that is the daughter. And the daughter is in now 166 or whatever. I think it was 166. We'll react to that in the future. But yeah, in terms of Dr. Clef, he's a weird guy. Like, what can I say? I don't really have too much to say. Some of the tales in there I don't agree with, like the fact that he's Adam. I don't agree with that because Cain and Abel would not mentioned at all. And I know Cain and Abel aren't necessarily in SCP related to that, but in my head it would make way more sense if that was the case. So yeah, he doesn't fit as Adam. As the devil, it's a bit weird. You know what I mean? It's a bit weird. The fact that he was there and I get the imagery. The fact that he killed the mother of nature or whatever, which I don't know if you want to represent that as the Garden of Eden, and he went in there and he corrupted it by making them eat the apple. If that's the way you want to see it, then fair enough. You know, I don't know what to believe, to be fair. He's a very weird guy. Obviously, GOC, SCP Foundation. Don't know why he's the devil incarnate. You know, I feel like the devil would be a separate SCP, kind of like God, SCP-343. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on this, man. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time.